And we're going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is Ted Hicks from Late Night Parents. Ways to follow the show, latenightparents.com. No errors from you, Mr. B. That's a Tony D special. When usually when we have errors, and Tony's like, "Oh, yo, hey, that's me. That's me."
Yeah.
But hey, Mr. B, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. Belated happy Thanksgiving and belated happy birthday to you, bro.
Thanks. Appreciate that, man. I hope your Thanksgiving was as well as mine.
Yeah, it definitely was. It
Good.
definitely was.
Good.
I'm just sharing to the Facebook page. There's like 4 of them. So I gotta once I can just share this really quick, and I'll be right back with you. Let's see. Let's see if it's gonna allow me to do it. Of course, it's not gonna allow me to do it. It's gonna make me type it out.
Oh boy.
It's gonna make me type it out. It's like do some work. Tonight's episode is the little bit of paradise.
Tony D, what's up?
Tony D, what's going on? The little bit of paradise. Boy, I gotta tell you, it's been something. And post. Okay. Now we post. And now we should be good to go. And even if we aren't good to go, let's see. I can never win. You know that? I can never win with this. All right. You know what? I'm done with it. I shared it to one page and we'll figure out the rest. It's usually this is my one beef with StreamYard with Tony D. What's going on? And belated happy birthday to Tony D. Also,
Yes, sir.
he was chilling. I know he's enjoying Georgia. He went to go see family. Um, so Mr. B, here we
Yes, sir.
go. We just burnt through 3 minutes of this, me being acting like I'm a newbie, but good to have you here. Um, ways to follow Mr. B is Mr. B 1986
Yes, sir.
on the app known as X.
Yes.
We won't say formerly known as Twitter, but even though it's formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. B, a lot going on in combat sports. Hey, we usually don't do shout outs, but we definitely want to give a few shout outs to my man Mike Copenhagen.
Yes, sir.
Big Mike out
Yes.
there on the West Coast
Yes,
doing it
indeed.
up. I hope you enjoyed the holiday. Well, the holiday just started, but I hope you enjoyed Thanksgiving with your family and everything else like that. Shout out to Tony D. Brian,
Yes, Big Bri.
Sunday Night Smoke, Fireman Rich, Nonsensical Nonsense, Leggy Lady,
Yep.
Michael Bathurst, the whole Haps crew,
Word.
Carmen with All About the Joy, her whole crew with Rick Costa and friends, um, and many, many more, and many, many more that we'll get to. Anyone that you wanted to shout out
Hey,
specifically, Mr.
man.
B?
Sure, man. That tune in to the streams on the weekends. The homie Jaw West, aka Jason, um, homie Mr. Incredible, Gary MMA Boxing, Um, there's a couple other dudes, man. My homie Devin, he out there, and a couple of you know what I mean. My viewing crew, man, aka the squad from Periscope, all them folks, man. But yeah,
Big shout out to them. And don't forget your crew from the OK Player app. Excuse me, OK Live app.
OK Live, yes, the OK
Yeah,
Live.
don't forget your crew there.
Yeah,
You always have
yeah.
a crew of people over there
Yeah,
where
yeah,
I come over to get your commentary.
yeah, yeah.
And there was a couple of events this past week where I like to tune in and listen to your commentary while I'm also viewing whatever the pay-per-view is.
Yeah, long time viewer from both Periscope and Haps, and he's watching on there too. My homie Phil McCormick, shout out to that dude, man. Long time when I was just barely on the Periscope thing, barely streaming. I still was trying to figure out how the streaming thing works. He was watching beginning, so big props to him, man. Appreciate that dude.
Big. That's big.
Yeah, yeah. And the homie the Cut and a couple other folks there too. Yeah.
Yeah. Want to shout out my boy Bucko Bruce, who I spoke to during the Thanksgiving holiday season.
Hey.
Also to Danny Thompson. I got to shout out my man Hezzy McCaleb. All my boys from Barbershop Sports from way, way, way back when it was doing the pod with them back in 2012.
Ooh.
Was doing up. I was a youngling helping them out when they did their weekly pod, and they kind of allowed me to dip my toes in and see what was going on. But those are just a few people that we're shouting out. So we'll get into it.
Yes, sir.
I want to share right here. I was asking you over and over and over again, Mr. B, and you did not fail because I kept asking you what's happening with PFL. I think it was like every week, whether we were on air or off air. I was like, yo, is it official? Because that last Bellator card, it was kind of like, okay, we're done, but wait and see what's next. And what's next was the news that came out. PFL acquires Bellator. A lot of stuff to come out of it with Bellator restarting in 2024. The two different brands, the different showcases, like they're expanding the brands within the franchises between the league season, the super fights, the Challenger Series, the international leagues, and of course Bellator with their 8 standalone events. We listened to Don Davis on MMA fighting. It was a great day to be in combat sports. So I wanted to ask you, what's the true impact of PFL acquiring Bellator MMA? And I guess the question I'm looking for an answer for is the impact to PFL, the impact to the fighters, the two different leagues, and what does that mean for UFC and ONE FC?
Well, here's the thing. First of all, PFL acquiring Bellator is a big deal. PFL runs this tournament format. I'm a fan of the tournament format. However, with the tournament format, you have a set number of fighters. When the tournament ends, you don't have nothing really to watch in between of these tournaments. So because you have the tournaments, you establish who's in the brackets. They pick who's in the brackets pretty much, and it's pretty much the same guys. They come in there. There's not really like fights in between where you can see who's in there. You have your main guys, then they have like the Challenger series. They try to fit in the Challenger series the PFL has, where you get to see fighters from the outside fight their way to get a spot in the tournament. We've seen that with Impa Kasanganay, who won recently. He won on Friday. He won the tournament in spectacular fashion, might I add, beating Josh Silveira and a couple other folks there that managed to just punch their ticket. So you see those regular guys. Now you have the option. You pick up Bellator. Bellator has a roster, a pretty solid roster. Golf Hawk was happening. You see those guys now could come in and plug themselves into the PFL tournament. They could also have the option to fight that Bellator, that regular Bellator scene. So you get that PFL, you get that Bellator talent. Really good Bellator talent, might we add. Bellator is not just slackers, you know what I mean? It's not just some slackers. We've seen what can happen. Established guys can come in and make a big scene. Eddie Alvarez managed to win the lightweight title, beating RDA in the past. We seen Michael Chandler stirs things up in that lightweight division as well. Everybody wanted to see MVP. MVP managed to, we're trying to see how that works with MVP and the UFC. But there's a lot of really good talent, a lot of really good fighters that Bellator has that people were saying, if they were in the UFC, they could stir things up. Now PFL got them. And now PFL is going to allow they're going to run for the next 2 years. They're going to run Bellator events under the PFL banner. So that's going to be really good to see what's going to happen. You bolster your roster. You got really good talents. What more does this to say? You get good fights and good matchups.
Yes.
That's what we're looking for. And you're getting some distribution going on as well because Bellator, Scott Coker managed to work some things out. They had the airing of fights in Russia, fights in France, a lot of the European plugins, for Bellator. Or PFL, they had a European show, but unfortunately, not a lot of the U.S. crowd were able to see that PFL show, which was horrible. There were some mistakes made, and hopefully acquiring Bellator and having a guy like Scott Coker still be under them, still work with them, they could work those things out and get better broadcast and distribution. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I guess I'll go to dovetail under this question. Media rights. Who do you see? Do you see Paramount? Because there was a lot of things discussed on that MMA fighting episode. And it sounds like Paramount is still a minority owner.
Yes.
Okay. So
if I remember correctly, I think they hold about 20%.
Right. Yeah. So for me, it seems like it's too easy and it makes too much sense. Golf Hawk, how you doing? It makes too much sense for Paramount, everyone is dying for live sports, live content.
Yep.
It makes too much sense because wouldn't they have like the first rights, the first access to it? Because before they start speaking anywhere, at least for the US rights. Yeah. I'm not even gonna talk international rights. But like for me, it just seems, and maybe even for international, because Paramount is Paramount. They're everywhere.
Correct.
Wouldn't it make sense for continuity? You already have the announcing team. You already have everything's kind of laid out there, and I'm kind of wondering, and the next week or so when this stuff is announced, to have the broadcast media rights to go to Paramount.
Yep.
It's for me, it just makes too much sense. But could you see another dark horse in there? Because I think PFL is no longer, or they're winding down their deal with ESPN, correct?
Correct. That's correct. Very correct. Paramount will make sense. Does make sense. Definitely makes sense. You've already worked with Paramount. After Paramount picked up Spike. It's already there. However, there is another one.
Okay.
DAZN.
Okay.
DAZN has aired some of Jake Paul stuff. Jake Paul's fights have been aired on both on DAZN and ESPN. Bunny head somewhat. But DAZN have been in the MMA business beforehand.
I gotta stop you because I remember this is early on when we first met, maybe before we first met. Bellator used to air on DAZN.
Correct.
And this was back when it was like $9.99 a month. And I was like, yo, this is great.
Yep.
And then they got ridiculous with the pricing.
That's very correct. Yes, Bellator were on DAZN, and it made sense. It made a lot of sense.
Right.
What happened though? You had them, and I think you had Combate. Combate managed to get on DAZN.
Yes.
Combate managed to get on DAZN as well, but for some reason, DAZN was plugged in. I think sometime during the 2020s.
Yes.
When 2020 happened.
Yes.
A lot of that stuff's kind of separated, but they clung on to boxing. They had their other sports, soccer and all that other stuff, but they locked in with the boxing. Anthony Joshua, signing those big contracts and stuff like that is what kind of happened. So it kind of shook things, and Combate ended up going on. Was it Univision? Yeah, Univision.
Yeah, they went on to Univision,
and then Bellator ended up going to Showtime because they worked with Coker, and Coker already was doing Strikeforce on Showtime. So it was like, yo, we got a perfect marriage. Coker got a hold of working there, So I was like, yo, we already work with these guys. Let's do it again, and they did it again. But I could see DAZN getting taking the option of saying, yo, we could get some business booming again.
Okay.
Your guy already works with us, Jake Paul. Let's see what we could do. Let's see what we could do. I can see that. But Paramount would look to make the logical sense of being the spot to be at.
Right.
Yeah. It would be crazy that, PFO work elsewhere with Bellator and Paramount to share. You know what I mean?
It just makes no sense. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Unless you want to share it, unless you want to split, and you can split streaming rights, streaming media rights between them and DAZN or somewhere else. But Paramount, if you don't pick this up, I'm gonna be very upset.
it was as crazy as Comcast, Fox, and Disney all owning Hulu.
Yeah.
It was as crazy as that, and they're splitting up the profits, and I'm just like, okay, this is silly, but
yeah.
So, and I also remember when Bellator was on CBS Sports Network, which falls under Paramount.
Yes. They were on the CBS network, and things were working, but with CBS Sports, you got college sports.
Yes.
Some of that stuff used to interfere
Right.
or some of the Bellator events. That was the problem. And so that was the problem. So some things would get delayed.
Mm,
The live events would be delayed. That's frustrating.
got it.
So that's what it was. That's what it was. Live events you gotta have we're interfering. So if Bellator does an event that's a little early, that would interact with some of the college game days, certain college game day things. And CBS Sports, they do a lot of sports. So that's what was happening. Sometimes it would interfere with the early proceedings of a Bellator card, or Bellator would interfere in that proceedings of that. So you would watch something and it says, soon Bellator will be coming on. And you're like, Jesus Christ.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, tell me a little bit about the PFL international leagues, because there was talk about PFL Africa, which is
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
be run by who, the king.
Yes, sir. Francis Ngannou, former UFC heavyweight champ. The guy who never got beat for his title. Let's just add that.
Never got beat for his title.
The number one guy for the UFC. So take that, UFC. As far as that's concerned, the international leagues, we have PFL Europe. Now, PFL Europe, if I remember correctly, had about 2-3 events so far.
Mm-hmm.
They have some really good talents that have been lurking in there. Wasn't Diana? Is it Diana Dicheva? Her mom was a big time kickboxer. She's whooping people. Young girl. She's in like her mid-20s or so like that. Early to mid-20s. Really solid talent. Then you got the big guy. The big guy made his debut. Spectacular fashion. And no, not Francis Ngannou. Glory welterweight champion Cedric Doumbé.
Got it.
Made his PFL debut. Not his MMA debut. He's been pretty good, undefeated in MMA. But was it a two-time welterweight champ? Yeah, two-time welterweight champ for Glory Kickboxing, tournament winner. Hell of a talent. His debut was not broadcasted because PFL made the horrible decision of not having it air for North America. So
Sadie, how you doing?
If you had the hookup, if you had the link hookup, hey Sadie, if you had that link, you was able to watch it. But if you didn't have that link, boy, these goofballs really messed up. But that card was pretty good. But yeah, they're looking for Africa. Hopefully they work out something in Russia because they have Russian talents in the PFL.
Australia?
Hopefully Australia. You look for Australia talent because, you look to branch out there. They're trying to get into Australia. They're going to have to get into Russia because Russia's a big spot for that, for MMA. They look to branch out to other places, man. I know the UFC was looking for an Indian market. There is MMA in India. You could get that going for sure. And the Latin America. But hopefully they could figure those things out because there's a lot of good talent growing. I was ranting and raving during this year about the Peruvian talent. We had some Peruvian fighters, but Peru has managed to get itself on the map this year. There have been a lot of Peruvian fighters that have popped up here and there, and we've seen this man, Jesus Pinedo, win this tournament. A talent from Peru who popped up out of nowhere, lost his debut fight in the the preliminaries of the PFL, then knocks out the number one guy who won the tournament last season, Brendan Loughnane. Talk about a Cinderella story for Brendan Loughnane. Was fighting in the UFC on the Contender Series, won, but Dana didn't sign him. He says, cool, I'll try my luck in the PFL, wins the 2022 season, and does it in amazing fashion, beating some of the top guys, then shows up this season, was looking good, gets knocked out. Gets knocked out by this Peruvian dude. Young cat. Gets eliminated from the tournament.
So here's my question.
No?
Of the international leagues. Are the international leagues kind of considered like the minor leagues in PFL, like America or US, considered like the majors? Like, do you work through PFL and you get through the ranks of PFL Europe? Do you eventually migrate over to the US, or do they operate on the same level based on the geographical location?
Good question. As far as what's happening with the internationals, just like how the UFC did their thing, Bellator did their thing. You look for the regional talent. You establish your market. You find the talent there. Big name talent, the regional talent, who's big in that area. You have them work their way. They get their fights. They fight those guys. They look good there. We'll bring them and have them do their thing here in North America eventually. But for right now, the fans like those guys. They'll fight at that area. And eventually, if they work big enough, we'll bring them and have them do some fights here in North America. If they work in North America, they become that big name in North America. Yo, we got a chance at putting a title on this person. If they look real, real good, they're picking up wins, we got an opportunity to make them a champ. That happens, hey, we can have this person fight in this area, you know what I mean? Their hometown, or if not in their hometown, you know, for, you know, and I say this with the Russians because we haven't quite seen a Russian fighter really go back and fight in Russia other than Fedor, maybe. It's a rarity to see some of that happen. We have Volkanovski fighting in Australia, you know, defend his title in Australia. But I mainly say that as far as Russia goes, the Russian fighters, not many Russian fighters get the opportunity to say, hey, I defended my title in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
We see that with Australian fighters. We see that with the Latin American fighters, which would be a good thing. But that's how it really goes. You find your market. You put those guys out there regionally to fight. Hopefully they do something big there. You have them fight. So it's like, hey, we're the guys. We have a guy that you guys enjoy. That's from your hometown.
Got it.
Put them in there like that. Yeah.
So let's talk about the potential super fights where we know Ngannou is going to be scheduled for, I don't know, it could be Q3, Q4. We don't know where Jake Paul is going to fall in. Are we talking about only seeing these guys once or twice a year?
If we're lucky, 2 to 3 times a year. If we're lucky.
Okay.
If we're lucky too. As far as Francis goes, Francis just had that fight with Tyson Fury. So things could be a little different. That happened. That's going to change some things. As far as him fighting in general, a lot of people want to see him fight in MMA.
Right.
But that boxing opportunity changes things.
It's big money.
Big money. You don't got to put your body through the wear and tear of MMA. You just picked yourself up 8 figures, buddy. You're good money. You know what I mean? If he fights in MMA, he's going to fight those super fights. A lot of people want to see him fight in a tournament. We're gonna have to wait and see if he wants to be in the tournament for 2024. And if that's the case,
wouldn't that be a lot of wear and tear on his body to be in the tournament? Yeah.
True. But then we're talking about Francis
Ngannou,
the man who can end the fight in less than 30 seconds. Nightmarish power, nightmarish ability. And it seems that he hasn't quite missed a step according to how we've seen him in boxing. He's moving fast. He's developing his striking on a technical level, which is very insane considering how powerful his striking is. We'll see if he does it. The tournament format, is about 3-4 fights. If he makes it through to the finals, that'll be 3 to 4 fights. And
what would be the period, Joe? What would be the period for those 3 or 4 fights?
According to how they start the tournament format, we'll probably see fights happen. Was it April? I think it's April.
Right.
April through. It's like April through. Then we have that big period in between October and November, so it's like a wait, that big pause period, and then they come back in like this year. I was kind of surprised they did November. You know what I mean? The tournament's over in November. Usually they do December.
Right.
They wait till December, but they did November. So that was kind of surprising. But then again, you picked up Bellator. They got to work things out. I get
all the business behind the scenes.
Yes, I get it. So there's a lot of time. You're going to have those guys train now. Those fighters are training. They did the card. Now those guys get to relax. We see what happens come the first quarter of 2024. Those super fights, boy, oh boy. And let's not even just talk about the big guys for the PFL. Champion versus champion, man.
Champion versus champion. What's up with that?
That is going to be magical.
7.
Yes. There's a big problem, though. And it's been talked about.
Yep.
You have 2 divisions that have no champion in the PFL.
Right.
Bellator has those 2 champions.
Yep.
And they are a hot commodity in one undefeated Johnny Eblen and the monster that lurks in the bantamweight division in Patchy Mix. Patchy Mix's girlfriend is in the UFC. Boy, oh boy, if you don't got that guy active, hey, Mike Patton.
Mike, what's going on?
Sir, what's happening? Yes, it was. Man, yeah, you got Patchy out there. Oh, dope. Said he covered the Titans game.
Oh, okay.
That was the game.
Nice.
Yeah. You got if they don't work things out to where you can get Patchy active, we don't know. Here's the problem. You have those 2 guys. They could work on the Bellator side of things. Who's big enough really for those guys to fight? Eblen's pretty much cleaned out the top guys in Bellator's middleweight division. What are you going to have him do? As far as Patchy goes, Patchy cleaned the chin of Rafion Stotts. You got a good rematch to go on. He easily beat Sergio Pettis. Magomedov, he finished. Who are you going to have him fight? You going to pick up randoms? Hey, let's fight some randoms. No, you can't do that. So, we got to see how that's going to work out. You're going to have a Bellator tournament to figure that one out. You know what I mean? we got problems. You got to make things happen. But the rest of those guys, really good talents there. You have the welterweight champions that's going on. Who is it? Okay, we have featherweight champion Patricio Pitbull. Pitbull will be fighting now Jesus Pinedo. Good fight. Problem is, Pitbull's taking 2 bad losses at the end of this year. Sergio Pettis embarrassed him in his bantamweight attempt. And then he went to Japan. He got knocked out. Bad, man. Bad loss. We got to see how he bounces back. And he's not going to have no clear fight. He's going straight into that champion versus champion fight.
Right.
That's going to be crazy. Lightweight, we don't know if OAM is planning to retire or not, but he will be fighting the lightweight champion, Usman Nurmagomedov. Now, Usman Nurmagomedov got suspended for PED usage, which is horrible because Usman's really good, really talented. 6-month suspension, though. That's kind of a bummer. And that fight ends up being a no contest. So he fought Brett Primus. That could be a rematch. And if Brett ends up winning, boy, oh boy. So we got a question mark there. We mentioned welterweight, Jason Jackson, who got that amazing win against the undefeated Yaroslav Amosov. He's going to be fighting now Magomed Karamov, who's a beast. You seen that? He won the tournament after a long hiatus. He couldn't even get to America to compete last season, the season before. That was crazy. And it's been a long time, man. He took some losses. He had the visa ban, some craziness. No middleweights. Light heavyweight, we seen who was it that won the light heavyweight tournament? Oh my God, how am I forgetting? Oh yeah, Impa Kasanganay. Impa, who lost in the UFC, highlight reel knockout loss to Jakeem Buckley, that spinning kick.
Mm-hmm.
Bulks up to light heavyweight, looks small at light heavyweight, but embarrasses these dudes at light heavyweight. Comes out of nowhere and beats the son of Ronen Ferreira, who competed in the UFC in the early years, fought in UFC Japan because it's just like a blah, 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 blah. But Josh Silveira, this was his second run, comes to the finals, gets handled. What's up, Jay? There you are, bro.
Jay West.
Oh, you want to come on? Well, this is going to be quick, but you could come on with me. We'll get on after this. But yeah, man. Yeah, he's going to be fighting now Vadim Nemkov, the protege of one Fedor Emelianenko, a.k.a. the greatest heavyweight in mixed martial arts that ever exist. That's going to be a good matchup. Hell of a matchup. And if Impa could get that win, that builds his stock up crazy. And then you got the heavyweights. Brian Bader, long time, light heavyweight guy who fights at heavyweight, but he playing games as far as defending his title. Will be now fighting that big Brazilian Renan Ferreira. A lot of good matchups. And then I don't even want to get into that women's featherweight now. Larissa Pacheco now winning 2 divisions, fighting Chris Cyborg. Golly, that's going to be something. Whoo. I look forward to it, though.
Yeah.
Magic. It makes you happy because now you're getting like, we want to see this. We want to see this.
It was kind of like, remember like maybe 5-6 years ago when AEW first came on the scene?
Yeah.
And everyone was happy because it's competition.
Yeah.
It's just not the one bully and all the the peons that are running around the smaller promotions.
Yep.
This is really good.
Yeah. And it's that Bellator has established champions.
Yes.
That's what makes it really good. Because you have established champions who've been in this promotion and fighting guys, fighting talents. really challenging the PFL's talents. Now you get to see if the PFL really is about, if they really are that team, you know what I mean? Those guys are really those guys.
The one thing from the Ariel Helwani interview with Don Davis was when he talked about, he said the fans want to see Ngannou against Johnny Bones Jones. He was like, we can make this happen.
Yes. And that is frightening.
That is frightening.
Frightening. They have pockets.
Yes.
This is what you need to understand, people. They have pockets.
Yep.
They have people who are willing to put money, invest in the PFL.
And they're like, they're open to, hey, your champ against our champ, and we're going to make a whole lot of money.
And and John's looking at it like, I could really make that money. I make good money here in the UFC.
Right.
I'm going to be on my way to retirement.
Yep. There you go.
He hasn't really been undefeated, but he's getting older.
Yep.
And I'm afraid to say this, folks. That man tore his pec.
Yeah.
That's an injury you don't want to risk again.
Nope.
And it can happen again. That's a problem.
That is a problem.
That's a problem. So he's got to fight younger heavyweight talent because they're pushing younger heavyweight talent in the UFC. Do you want to go through that? His body he was a light heavyweight. He's doing heavyweight. It took him 3 years to finally say, yo, I'm going to fight at heavyweight.
Right.
To get your body back in the shape. You're going to go through these stuff again, fighting these younger heavyweights. And the younger guys are evolving. They're looking better.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do?
I don't know, but it's going to be a good time in the PFL. And I guess we're looking for, if not this week, the next week, for the next rounds of huge announcements coming out of that camp.
Yeah.
Which should talk media and which should start to lay down the March time frame for the first Bellator event. Because I think they said 8 standalone events through the year.
Yep.
And then March for PFL. So it's a great time for this company. Want to see what they do. Like I said, hey, they can hire us because we can put together your media deal really quick for U.S. and international.
Yeah.
Wanted to segue quickly into what are the possible destinations for Joe Rogan's Experience to be licensed in 2024?
Joe Rogan. The JRE. Man, oh man. That man got power. If Rogan's coming back, if Rogan going somewhere, they got to do better than what Spotify did.
Yes.
That's it. Either Spotify going to hit him with another big deal, another extension, or somebody's going to have to come and move. We got to get the truckload.
I think it's more than a truck. I think it's more than a truck because now because it's different. Bill Simmons got that huge bag, but he basically sold his company. It wasn't just licensing.
That was the craziest part about it, yeah.
Right. He sold his company.
Yeah, and he's talked openly about it too.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like, man, if you're getting Rogan, YouTube is scared.
YouTube is scared.
They would love to give Joe Rogan the money. And they could give Joe Rogan the money easy.
I'm gonna go as far. I'm gonna jump in here. I'm gonna go as far as if this wasn't coming up to be an election year, I think it would be a totally different approach from YouTube.
Yeah.
With it being an election year, because officially, you blink your eyes, we're in 2024.
Yes, sir.
That's where they start getting scared.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
That's very true. And I didn't even think about that. Yeah. And you see how middle he is, but they call him right wing, but
Yeah.
he just plays it down the middle, and things just get brought up. And folks don't want to take those risks. Yeah, I hear you.
It's
A lot of things have been unraveled on the Joe Rogan experience. The Joe Rogan experience is truly an experience. You learn some things, man. Even when it came to all the
stuff that we went through.
Yeah.
And he was like,
yeah. And they clowned him on some of his experience, his point of views. And then look what happened.
Yeah.
Man looked like Nostradamus out here.
Who did he go after? He invited Sanjay Gupta.
Yes, sir.
And he was ready to go in for the kill.
He got Gupta. Gupta had no answer. Gupta really had to go and be like, yo, my fault. I didn't, He
was like, your company said, and he's just like, yeah, that's my company. I don't know why they would say that. I don't know. I mean, because I know offline we've talked and we say, I mean, I know you guys have mentioned Rumble. I don't think Rumble is big enough. But maybe they are. I don't know.
Rumble. You gotta see. You see all those folks that have been on Rumble.
Is Rumble ready to cut a $200 million check?
That depends.
That's what I think it comes down to. Bring your library. Here's a $200 million check for the next, I don't know, 3-4 years, and have at it.
Here's the thing, too. You bring JRE to Rumble, you got to think about how many people will be willing to invest in the JRE at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And they could probably put the money up just to get Rogan to come in there. Not even just Rumble itself.
Right.
It's a very, you got to think about it. It's a very tricky situation there, where you looking at all those folks and on Rumble who put content on Rumble, the higher up folks.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those people enjoy Joe Rogan. Rogan knows them.
Right.
They'll be willing to say, "Hey, Rogan, I'll cut a piece of that for you to come in. I'll cut a little piece, a little share. I'll take a little bit of that. Just to see my money come back. Come on, Rogan, let's go." It's scary, but it can happen. But like you say, though, if that doesn't happen, is Rumble really going to be willing to throw that money in the air for a guy like that?
Because, I mean, he's going to bring a whole lot of attention and a whole lot of eyeballs.
Yeah. You see a lot of people who come on, a lot of those streamers and stuff like that, those folks who've left YouTube and left the Twitch to get on there. They've done okay. But Joe Rogan's a whole different beast compared to those folks.
Does he go to, I think he would probably break Twitch.
Yeah. I don't think Twitch will have him. He's too controversial. It's too controversial for Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Twitch don't want to take those risks. I don't think Twitch want to take those risks. No.
Would you? I'm thinking about deep pockets.
Yeah, super deep pockets.
Do you bring them to Netflix?
You give him a televised network. Yo, do you bring him on TV? Do you do that?
Do you bring Joe Rogan on TV?
Prime time spot.
Because if I go to my Files TV, and I type in channel 838, it's Netflix.
Bro. Man, oh man. Do you
got
do
big
that?
pockets.
Do you do
Hey,
that?
you drop, and he's dropping 3 live pods a week. You tell me.
Netflix could gain back a lot of what they lost if they do that.
Yeah.
They really can. That would be a win-win on both sides. It really would.
Mm-hmm.
It really would. Because what Netflix has managed to show is loyalty.
Yeah.
They've managed to show loyalty in the
Mhm.
midst of a lot of stuff. Yeah.
I don't see him. Apple's too left leaning.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, we love the Paramounts of the world, but they're right down the middle, and they're going to be like, no way, we don't want that, and we're the network for 50 and plus, 50 plus.
Yeah. Yep.
Disney's not touching them.
No, HBO's moved on from those things.
HBO's moved on.
Yeah.
Though I think that could be if he went to Max.
Oh. Yeah.
Because you got to, like I said, you got to think of who has the pockets.
Yeah.
To write that big check, number one, and say, hey, here's the landing page. You're going to be available on the landing page.
But like you said, Ted, Netflix would be it.
Netflix, global company, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. I don't know.
It really would.
We'll table that for another time. Third question is last night. No. Trips and Nick Khan pulled it off. Are they hedging their bets with getting in the CM Punk business? What is your take on that? I just know this is not going to end well.
This is crazy. First of all, we got to talk about it. They pulled this off without even telling the higher ups at TKO that this was happening.
That's crazy.
About 10 days ago, they talked to CM Punk.
I'm not a slight type of girl, but I think
They talked to CM Punk.
Yes.
Triple H got to talk to him just in the morning before this happened. Nick Khan talked to Punk about the deal. Triple H talked to him during the morning of the event. Nobody knew but Trips and Khan.
Nobody.
Not even the roster knew that this was happening.
Not even the talent. I heard up until they cleared all the talent out. But I'll let you ride with the story.
But yeah, that's what really happened. Yeah, they let the clear out. Punk came in. They really literally snuck Punk in. So when that music came on, that's when they knew he was there.
Yeah.
Rollins is pissed, but what they're talking about is that Rollins is trying to work an angle, which I knew they were trying to work an angle since they did the Twitter spat.
Yes.
Yeah. They went crazy back and forth. There are some people who feel upset about it. There's some people who are happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
But to get this man after 9 years,
9 years.
they fired him on his wedding day. He walks back into walks back into WWE during the legit ending of a pay-per-view. Like, there was no need for that to even happen. You rolled the copyright, Screwball, all that stuff. That was it. He pops up out of nowhere. Brother, that is insane. But that also shows that they understand business.
Yes.
People could grow up.
Yep.
People can grow and understand the situation. Punk had an opportunity and went elsewhere, got himself back to see how the response would be.
Mm-hmm.
And as I mentioned it on Twitter, on X, I can't say Twitter, X, he went elsewhere and realized that as much as you want things to be different, it might not be all that is cracked up to be.
Yep.
And what he's seen and what he talked about is facts. WWE is established.
Yep.
Those folks pride themselves in professionalism. But at the end of the day, understand it's a business. And where he was at, they haven't figured that out yet.
Nope.
So he went back. And we got to wait and see what's going to happen. If he shows up on Raw on Monday, it's going to be crazy. And moving forward, it's going to be insanity.
Yeah.
2024 is going to be an interesting year for wrestling. Once again, wrestling has been flipped on its head.
True. This is stuff we only expected. If you listen to the Nick Khan traveling podcast roadshow, he went on so many different shows and was like, here's what TKO is doing. And we're going to provide you, the fans with like mega events. They were talking about mega events for 2024.
Yep.
Where it's an entire weekend, where it's UFC, WWE, in that same weekend, at that same venue, in that same area. It could be global, it could be domestic.
Yep. Yep.
I just know two things I know. This won't end well. And Tony Khan has got to be sick to his stomach.
Oh, he's definitely gonna be sick to his stomach. He's definitely sick to his stomach. Yeah. Cause you gotta. I'm gonna tell you this. You think this ain't gonna end? This ain't gonna end well, but it's not gonna end well for who you think is not gonna end well for.
Right.
The WWE understand what they're gonna do. Yeah, WWE understands what they're gonna do. This won't end well for AEW and that fan base.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna hurt the fan base crazy. If they're gonna if CM Punk's coming back, CM Punk is gonna get his creative control.
Yep.
CM Punk is gonna be able to say certain things, but CM Punk is gonna get his piece. And that's what it is. He's not amongst a bunch of, we don't know what we're doing.
Right.
We're established guys. We get it. That's what's going to happen. He said some things. He's going to mend those fences.
Yep.
That's going to be it. The AEW folks, they're going to look and say, oh my God.
Last question for you. Would you night 1 versus night 2? Cody and Reigns, Seth and Punk. Who's night 1? Who's night 2 for you? of WrestleMania?
You gotta get Punk and Seth on night one.
Okay,
Reigns and Cody night two.
got it.
There's a lot more weight riding on Cody and Reigns.
Right.
That's what it is. There's a lot of weight, and 39 really left people like, you really did that? I'm shocked. That's what it was. But yeah, with Punk return, Punk versus Seth would be insane.
Closing it out. It has to close out. Has
Yeah.
to close out night one.
Yeah. You got to really think about it. They talk the trash. Seth really career has been innovated by a guy like Punk.
Yes. Yes.
So it was like, yo, it's like meeting your idol almost. You know what I mean? And yeah, a lot of things have been said. A lot of things have been said between those two. And you know, Punk don't sugarcoat anything. That's the big difference. So I would like to see that happen. We gotta let that close night one. If you hold it at night two, ooh,
Whoa.
you gotta let them go off the hinges. That's why.
I mean, he has to get his WrestleMania moment.
Mm-hmm.
He has to.
Yeah.
He talked about this behind the scenes.
Yep.
Punk never had his WrestleMania moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Has to happen.
And you see, Matt Riddle got upset. Matt Riddle put out a he threw out a post out there talking about, you brought this guy in and you say I'm a bag of problems. And I said, poor Matt, you're so clueless.
Clueless.
I said, you're so clueless. There's a big difference between him and you, Matt.
Yes.
People like you, Matt, but understand business and the cash behind CM Punk.
So you got Tony Khan saying, I got Will Ospreay.
And Will Ospreay is a big pickup.
He is a big pickup.
Big pickup.
But you got WWE saying, we got CM Punk.
Yes, after you guys failed with them.
You guys couldn't manage up.
You guys couldn't say, yo, let's put on our big boy britches.
And I all along, Joe, Tony Khan's a fanboy. Period.
Not a businessman.
He's a fanboy.
That's all it is. It's a guy who got money and say he could buy what he wants.
Right. I think I'll buy that.
Yeah.
Okay. And hey, we'll do an announcement on our Wednesday show. And you're just like,
yeah. Yeah. I'm going to do an announcement. My announcements don't carry as much weight as they once did.
No.
You know what I mean? You had this guy and you messed it up because you want to be a fanboy.
You want to be a fanboy.
A boss.
And not a boss.
Lack the professionalism. And everybody you see talk about, he's so professional. He's so professional. Nah, man. We could see it. We could see it now. We get it.
Yep.
Some of it, and you know, I was on the, we talked the wrestling aspects, and we used to say it. Yo, Tony Khan got to put his foot down.
Yep.
You got guys who have been at the big spot. They get it. You're trying to say, hey, you want to be noticed. And instead of putting your foot down when it needs to be. And you let that guy walk out of your company. Wow. And half of the guys didn't feel that was the move to make. That's the thing. That's the thing. And you have the big names. You have the people that say, oh, he was toxic. He was this and that. But it's only behind Those EVP guys who said that.
It's only those EVPs.
You heard Jericho say it. We're gonna take a hit, but we're gonna try to move on.
Right.
Jericho understood the money that was there.
Mm-hmm.
You will hear Joe talk about it. Samoa Joe understands that. Sting understands that. They understand they lost something.
Yep.
They lost something. Things happen though. That's the boss. But they understand they lost something. It's gonna be hard to recoup back.
Yeah.
And imagine seeing that guy walk back at the place where he said he would never return to.
Woo.
The
I
guy
was
who had a beef. Hold on, my fault, cutting you off. But the guy who he said he had a beef with, he talked to him at the day of and said, "Yo, if we could work things out." He's mentioned it before.
Yep.
If we could work things out, we'd be glad to bring him back.
Yep.
The picture. Come on, man. So you can't live this down no more. They're gonna work.
It just feels like they pulled a fast one on Tony Khan.
Yeah.
That's what it just feels like.
And look at them show up, stand in Chicago.
Yep.
Those people go crazy.
Yep.
They didn't even say, "Yo, let's wait till the Royal Rumble to do this."
Let's do this right now.
It was we're here in Chicago. Oh, Randy Orton showed up. Punk ain't gonna come out. We hit y'all with a double.
Yo. All night long, they was chanting CM Punk.
Yep.
All night long.
They were chanting CM Punk. Then it looked like Randy wasn't gonna show up, so CM Punk definitely gonna be there.
Yeah.
Then Randy came out, so it was like, we're not getting Punk. Here's the show about to end.
Mm-hmm.
People lost their minds. People who were doing live streams, watch-alongs, losing their mind. How? Amazing stuff by WWE.
Yeah.
That merch sales are going to be crazy. And they're looking to continue to pick up talent.
Yep. The talent that makes sense.
I am in shock and awe. You just dimmed the light on Will Ospreay signing the AEW.
Yes.
You just really did that.
And it's Will Ospreay.
Ospreay. The young guy who was carrying New Japan.
You think last question, you think Tony Khan buys New Japan? Because there was some talk about it.
He can. They have the money. You know, he has his dad's money to play with.
But then what do you do with it? You can't stop AEW any further.
That's the problem. Things are not working the way you thought they were.
Mm-mm.
You're putting product out there, but it's not getting the views. It's not getting the watches. Dude, you put Collision on. No, you had, what was it? Yeah, you had Collision on the same day you had SmackDown, was it?
Yeah.
All-time low.
All-time
220,000.
Yep, all-time low.
Then you had the audacity to try to have Rampage and Collision play head-to-head with Survivor Series?
Crazy.
What are you doing?
What about the night? I think it was the baseball playoffs. They had, what did they have? I don't know if they had, it wasn't Collision. It was either Rampage or Dynamite against NXT,
Yes.
and Trips sent everyone down there.
Yeah. And even on a night of sports, you had NXT beat you guys at Dynamite.
You had NXT beat you guys.
And
And
then
they sent everyone.
guest star John Cena, Cody Rhodes, Undertaker showed
Undertaker, Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch, yeah. And then you went on a tirade like a little kid. Oh, you had to bring those guys. Bro, they talents by WWE.
Right.
They're the loyalty guy.
Yep.
Come on, man. You call Undertaker? Come on, man. You know what you was getting yourself into. These guys have been doing it for 50 plus years. Come on, man. They know what they're doing. They get it. If they want to pull the big guns, they'll pull the big guns.
And they can pull the big guns at any time. Anytime.
Triple H is trying to play nice with you guys. And y'all won't just leave it alone. You won't leave it alone.
He could pull Dwayne Johnson at any time.
Yep.
And that's a showstopper right there.
Yeah. Austin, you doing something? Come on now. Come on now.
Come on now.
Psh. Trish Stratus supposed to come back. You got all these people come back.
We need you to just do a segment.
Come on, man. You can't.
Here's 100K. We need you to do a 10-minute segment.
You can't. And it's just weird, man. And I wonder what's going to happen now with Impact Wrestling. Now they're going back to the TNA format.
Right.
And they got some investors coming through. I want to see what they're going to do as far as talent goes.
Okay.
But they put on a decent product too. But they just need that flag bearer character. That one flag bearer person. That's what they need.
The one person, yes.
That would just elevate them. The one or so people. You know what I mean?
You know, just the one that just says, yo, I'm gonna put this promotion on my back and let's go.
And they had it. They had it. But you know where they messed up? When AEW came and they said, yo, we're gonna give our title to Kenny Omega.
Yes.
Y'all messed up.
You messed up.
You messed up. And that was after the fact that you guys gave y'all world title to a lady.
Mm-hmm.
You let Tessa Blanchard win the world title. Come on, you can't take more hits like that, man.
Mm-mm.
You can't take more hits than that. You can't do that. She held y'all hostage. She pulled the Jeff Jarrett. Come on, you can't do that. Talk about let me get 150,000. I'll bring the title back. She's sitting in Mexico. Come on, man.
Dude, I want to thank you for coming through.
Hey, no problem.
I want to thank you for coming through. It's a combat sports centric episode. Let's see who's in the comments as we shut this down. Tony Tone said it's CM Punk against Cody Rhodes.
I like to see that too.
Like to see that too. I'd like to see a champ for champ.
Would be nice.
You know.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, those are the three topics. We discussed PFL. We discussed, of course, the ever lovable Mr. Joe Rogan.
Yep.
And then we talked a little WWE Survivor Series, War Games, CM Punk, the business of wrestling.
It'll more than likely happen, Tony. It'll more than likely happen.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stirring too, man. Because there's like a rumor backstory behind that where it felt like because CM Punk was coming in, that's why Cody left.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit of backstory behind that. So
Cody went to You just think about it. You listen to any of those wrestlers. They said Vince McMahon went personally to go get Cody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Personally went to go get him.
He knew. He knew.
I hope you're ready to make
That's respect.
I hope you're
A
ready.
lot of that people will say that's due to his father and this and all this. And maybe it
Nah.
is. Maybe
Yeah.
it is.
But,
So what?
but more than that, Cody got it. That's what it was. Cody got it. When
Mhm.
Cody left, Cody rebuilt his whole brand.
Yes.
His not just the Rhodes name, but his brand.
Yeah.
This dude wrestled everywhere he needed to wrestle at.
Yeah.
Man wrote a list and people that he wanted to wrestle and went out and did it.
Yeah.
Everywhere he could wrestle. Mexico, UK, California. He was out there. PWG, Battle Los Angeles. He showed up.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You could have asked for it. Went to Japan, Bullet Club, Ring of Honor. Oh,
Yep.
come on, man. Impact. Wherever you wanted to watch wrestling, Cody
He
Rhodes
was
was
there.
there. Can't ask for more.
You know.
Can't ask for more.
But man, want to definitely thank you for coming through. Where can we find you during the week?
New Year, same beat at Mr. B 1986 on X. Catch me there. The weekends, that crazy app called OK Live. When there's fights going on, I'm out there. We doing that streaming and humorous commentary, humorous, knowledgeable commentary. But yeah, man, that's where you catch me at. For sure.
Got it. Got it.
Oh yeah, Wednesdays, man. I'm on here, YouTube and Twitch for the B-sides, man. I
4
sometimes
p.m.
yes, 4 p.m. where I'm talking about the sports, the combat sports. Last week events, if there's anything that happened last week, the upcoming events, share my thoughts on some topics there. Sometimes it's short, sometimes it's extended, but you get what you need, man.
Got it. Mr. B, want to thank you and want to thank everyone who was in the comments, from Jay West, Tony D, Golf Hawk, the
Sadie.
General, Mike Patton, Sadie, and we are out.